AITAH for not wanting to continue with the pregnancy after my fiancé, and I agreed to be child-free. I'm pregnant, but I'm not supposed to be. Me fiancé, and I decided to have a life without children. We spoke about it in depth when we started getting serious, and every now and then touched on the subject to make sure we were both on the same page. We've been together for 2 years, engaged for 3 months, and in that entire time we never once had a pregnancy scare. I'm on birth control. He uses condoms. We're very careful. But I started feeling a bit under the weather. I was experiencing nausea, a lack of appetite, headaches, and I was getting tired more easily. Since the symptoms kept persisting, I went to the doctor thinking I had caught something. They did routine exams, including a pregnancy test. The doctor came back and told me I am around 6 to 7 weeks pregnant. I kind of laughed. It was impossible. We were being careful. I demanded they do the test again, but they assured me the result was accurate. I left the clinic internally freaking out. Somehow my birth control had failed, and I needed to go tell my fiancé. When we had the conversation, I was an absolute mess. I was crying and barely getting my words out. He reacted just like I expected. He comforted me, hugged me, and told me everything would be okay. For a split second, I felt so much relief, but then it was all shattered and my anxiety kicked into overdrive when he told me, "We'll make great parents. I'll be with you every step of the way." I felt like my whole world tilted on an axis. It's really difficult to explain how much his words affected me, because the key foundation of our future was that our lifestyles aligned perfectly, and suddenly here, he was telling me he wanted to keep it. I asked him what he meant, and he said it was clearly a miracle since we managed to conceive despite everything we did to prevent it. I reminded him that we are supposed to be child-free, that we both agreed we didn't want kids. He said that was true, but now that the pregnancy was real, things were different. But how were they different? I needed him to come with me to terminate the pregnancy. I've never been through this before, and I'm terrified to go by myself. I really needed him to be my rock, because I don't have anyone else in my life I trust to support me through this. Eventually, he told me to go to bed and get some rest because I was overwhelmed. And yeah, I am, but not for the reason he thinks. I am 100% sure I don't want this baby. I don't want to be pregnant, I don't want to give birth, and I don't want to raise a child. Actualization. Here's what happened yesterday when I spoke to him again. It didn't go well at all. I started off the conversation by asking him if he really wanted this baby, or if he just acted excited because he was worried I wanted it and didn't want to upset me. Unfortunately, he looked straight at me and confirmed that he really does want this child with me. So I decided to rip the Band-Aid right off. I told him I don't want to keep it, that I was going to follow our original life plan and terminate the pregnancy. I told him I wanted him by my side, but if he really has changed his mind about his future, I needed to know right now. His face changed to a mix of shock and anger. He asked me how I couldn't be excited about this and how I could want to get rid of our child. I told him the truth. Because I never wanted children, I still don't want children, and getting pregnant by accident doesn't change my convictions. He tried to minimize it, claiming I was just overwhelmed and not thinking straight. That annoyed me so much. So suddenly overnight I am incapable of making rational decisions? I made it clear to him that I had the entire day to calm down and think about what I wanted to say clearly. If he wants to be a father, I won't stop him. My relationship was over because of it. It hurt because it meant the end of our engagement, but he won't be having that child with me. Fundamentally, we aren't compatible anymore. When he realized I was completely serious, he started to panic. He started talking faster, trying to convince me that we'd make good parents, that we'd figure it out, that he'd work twice as hard. He didn't want to listen to reason. He didn't care that I didn't want to go through with a pregnancy, or that my project for life was still to remain child-free. To be honest, his level of insistence was starting to become very unsettling. We started arguing because he just wouldn't agree to us separating or to my decision about the pregnancy. He never got physical, but his aggressive insistence that I couldn't stop this really scared me. In that exact moment, a terrible doubt crossed my mind. I asked him how long he had changed his mind about wanting kids, but he wouldn't give me a straight answer. I asked if it was before or after finding out about the pregnancy, and he said he didn't know. The relationship was dead at this point, so I looked at him and asked the ultimate question about our birth control methods, if they had been messed with. I can't really explain the expression I saw on his face. It was like fear and anger balled into one. He screamed that I was nuts, said he couldn't talk to me when I was acting like this, and left the house. I took advantage of the fact that he walked out to gather all my important documents, my electronics, some clothes, and I got out of there. Asked a friend if I could crash at her place. We aren't best friends, so I was afraid she would say no, but she welcomed me immediately. When I arrived, I told her everything. She assured me I can stay with her for as long as I need and promised she will be by my side through the whole medical process. My ex-fiancé called me when he got back to the house and saw I wasn't there. I answered, and he demanded to know my location. I told him I was with a friend and refused to give him details. I repeated that I am going through with a termination, that I don't need his permission or his blessing, and that I wouldn't stand in his way if his dream now is to have a family, but he'll need to find someone else to do it with. It was a heartbreaking call. We both ended up crying. Eventually, he said I can come get the rest of my stuff while he is at work, but he warned me I would regret my choice. I just said, okay, and hung up. He has sent me a couple of texts today asking how I am and begging me to at least wait until we can get an ultrasound together. I shot that idea down immediately, and he hasn't written back since. Tomorrow I will go get my things while he is not there. This is not the ending I wanted. I really hoped it was just a shock of the moment and that he didn't know how to react, but his plans for life changed. It is definitive that we are no longer together. Soon I will go through the clinical procedure, and then I will try to figure out how to piece my life back together without him. I am very sad, mourning the loss of my partner and my best friend, but I prefer this pain 1,000 times over giving in to the future he wanted to force upon me.